tonight's show is going to be different than last times. Last times we started off with the discussion and then we went into a little bit of news. This time instead what we're going to do is I'm going to bring in Mo for an interview and then we're going to get him in on the discussions for the rest of the show. So it's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be equally as awesome. So Mo, I hear Laith in the background. Thanks for joining us, by the way. You're fairly renowned in the worldwide, in the CSS community, but for those who don't know about you, could you give us like a little bit of background about you, where you came from, who you are?
Hey guys, first off, happy to be here. My name is Mo Assad. I played for, right now I play with you on your team, Team Tort in ESA Invite. But before that I was part of multiple teams with the same core players. I played for CGS franchise San Francisco Optics. I played for Powers Gaming. I played for EFG. And mostly the same players on all teams.
Awesome. So you've been playing for like a really long time, and you've been really successful.
Yes, sir.
Through all the years, like with the ups and downs, what gives you this continued drive to keep playing the game and like competing in it?
I think it's just the game like keeps changing competition-wise. It just there's always new teams, new players out there, and I'm happy. I don't know. I just have that drive to just stay on top, and I like playing against different styles, different players, and as time goes by, you get to experience everything. I'm just happy that I'm still able to compete this far into my life.
Awesome, yeah, and you've been at the top of the game, competing with the best, as you've said. What tips could you give someone who's just trying to break out into the competitive scene, trying to break out in Counter-Strike or any other game for that matter? What tips would you give them to get them to the upper tier divisions, to get them to the top of their games?
Honestly, like it comes down to finding a group of guys that have the same goals, playing with them as much as you can, and really getting yourself to land events. Just events is where it's at. Once you prove yourself at a big major event, you skyrocket from there. That's exactly how I got into gaming. Just from one event turned into getting on a really good team, turning into going to multiple tournaments a year. So just be seen. Don't be afraid to go to a LAN tournament.
Exactly. You're known to have a really big personality, in-game, out-of-game. You're just one of those types of players that are loud and that everyone recognizes. How does this affect your relationship with your fans? Do people like you more or less because of it? Your teammates and your opponents? Like, do you get in your opponents' heads? Are they scared of you?
I'm honestly like, even though I keep the same exact persona in-game, out-of-game, when I meet people I'm the same exact way. For the most part, it seems that everyone enjoys it. I mean, I enjoy a lot of players that I've played with in the past, and every tournament I've been to, it's just smiles everywhere. Everyone's having a great time. So there's never any we all talk shit and we all make fun of people, and you get the better of them here and there, but there's no grudges held between at least the people I've played with in the past.
Okay, awesome. So this week's episode, I thought it would be good to bring Mo into the discussion because what we're discussing. It's going to be esports now versus then. Before I hop into that, Ryan, did you have something you wanted to add, or should we just go straight into this and we can talk about it?
Well, yeah, no, I've definitely got a couple questions for Mo. You ready, Mo?
Okay.
You can't see Mo. I see this static picture, so I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to look right at it on this monitor over here. So, all right, Mo.
I'm looking at you in the same exact pose.
Okay, just freeze my picture and let's line them up. Let's merge them. I'll be the lighter version of you. Okay, so question for you. So how did you start out, and how many years ago was that?
I started out in 2005 when Source came out. I think end of 2004, early 2005. And I basically just joined a team online first, get your name out there. We did well online, but then there was one big major LAN tournament called CPL at the time. Yep. And I literally just paid out of pocket to go there with a team that was just a complete mixture of players that we weren't really a team. We were just 5 guys that just got brought into this. And we went, I played well. As a team, we didn't play we placed, I think, 15th or 16th out of 32 teams or something, so it wasn't a good placing at all by any means. but because of my play, a player on the second best team at CPL, the captain, he saw me and he recruited me onto that team, and from there I was able to get on that team. Then we beat the #1 team in the world, and we became the #1 team in the world. And then from there, just like I just been on the same team forever until now.
Now, you know, and Josh was going to bring this up in a moment here, but kind of just touching on the surface, because I got to know this before I forget. What were the entry costs then to get involved in a LAN tournament versus now? Or are they relatively the same? And what are those costs to get involved?
Well, back then, I think they're pretty much the same. There was more potential back then in terms of the game. There were more tournaments being announced, more players willing to pay out of pocket to go be seen. There was huge sponsors for CPL. We don't see that as much anymore in the American scene. We don't CPL was huge. I mean, 2,000+, like 2,000-3,000 gamers in one area at one time. Big LAN tournament, big BYOC, Intel, huge sponsors used to sponsor it. Now it's just like, since there's not as big events, teams aren't as willing to go. They're not willing to pay that money for not a lot of recognition.
You know what's it running these days?
What's up?
What's the price, the entry fee?
Oh, the price to get in. It'd be around. It just depends on the prize pot, really. If it's a big prize pot, you're looking at maybe $500 per team. If it's relatively small, it'd be like $50 a player, $250 per team, because it's 5 players on a team.
Hey,
it just depends.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. It just purely depends on what their prize pot is. If it's a huge tournament, it's a slightly more. It's not like we're paying thousands to get into the tournament. It's like maximum $500.
Now you mentioned the sponsors are sort of evaporating. Where'd they go and why'd they take off?
I want to say they're going to newer games, just games that require your computer to be more upgraded, so they could have a reason to sponsor it. When Source first came out, it was huge, and it required such a great computer that all these companies like Intel, AMD, Dell, whatever, their video card company, NVIDIA, they all were willing to put a lot of money into tournaments and advertisement because it showcased their product for the game. Now it's just waiting for the next big thing, probably CS:GO.
All right, interesting. No further questions at this time, Your Honor. Back to you, Josh.
I was asked this by a friend I have on Steam. He's watching the show. He wanted to ask you, Mo, who's your favorite teammate on Powers Gaming?
I'd have to say my favorite teammate of all time, and on Powers Gaming, it'd probably be, well, the person I was closest with was Clown, Yaz and Amari. We were just like the same exact person on the same team. It was really weird, and it was really good to have someone that you could relate to so much. And he was the closest I've been to. The person that I missed the most as a player would be Johnny Clark. He played a long time ago, and he's like some band member now. He's a lead singer of a band somewhere. And he was probably my favorite strat caller / teammate for purely gaming reasons, but not out of game or anything like that. He was my friend, but not as close as Clown.
And the last question for you before we hop into the discussion would be, would you rather play in Europe or the States? Where would you rather live to play this game?
As of if I was to make a living out of playing this game now, it'd definitely be in Europe. More competition, just more. The sponsors there are still willing to go with the extra mile for the game. There's a lot more fan base over there for it. This obviously back when it was in its prime during CGS time, the 100% America was the place to be. It was just a dream come true to be able to play the game. Get paid a normal wage, actual respectable amount of money to play a game that you just love playing for free, pretty much.
Awesome. All right, so right here I have in the in the notes is esports now versus then, focusing on this is 2012, the progression of esports all the way from the new millennium to the CPL events, the CGS, and now MLG with StarCraft and stuff. So the first thing I have here on my notes is is it socially acceptable? Is playing or competing in esports socially acceptable? I remember at one point in the past, you'd be kind of ashamed or afraid to tell your friends, family, whatever, that hey, yeah, I'm just going to this LAN tournament or LAN party in Montreal on the weekend, because you'd get grilled with questions and you'd be called a huge nerd. But now it seems as though like everyone's playing games, everyone's like watching LOL streams or Han streams or Dota or StarCraft streams. So like, why is it more socially acceptable to just grab your gear and head to a LAN party now? I'll throw it to Ryan, because he's got this big ass grin on his face.
Okay. All right. So why is it more acceptable? You know what? To be honest, in my circles, I've never been called a nerd or a geek for playing games, except for maybe by other gamers, which is always stupid. Kind of find it ironic, you're playing a game, are you fucking geek? What does that mean? Who knows? But people I talk to and hang around with, I've never done that, because all my life I've been involved with sports and other things. So being a geek or a nerd has never really been an option, because I can hang physically and, well, not so much on the games. I don't know. When I was playing Darkfall with Apoc, I was more or less like a little carrier bitch following him around. But, it's fun. And I got to say, I don't know that everybody thinks of it that way. And if they do, and when they do, it's a weird thing to think that gamers are geeks or nerds, because here's the deal. What kind of game is it? You've got, like my wife, she's all over that iPhone and those iPad apps and that sort of stuff. You got people in these parlor games on Yahoo. Yahoo Games, freaking backgammon and chess and whatnot. That's been around for a while. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'm really answering your question. When I do hear people talking about MMO gamers or FPS gamers or any kind of gamer in sort of a lower light, I'm thinking, well, what do you play? You go to the casino, you're pulling that, slot machine handle, you're rolling the dice, which is fun, Josh. You haven't done it. Okay, so everybody plays games. I don't know anybody who doesn't play. There's board games when you're a kid who plays games. Yet for some reason, when you get bigger and you play on a computer, sometimes you hear these things about geek and nerd, and I just don't get it, because at least you're keeping your brain active, right? You're constantly engaged, talking to people like you, and you're sweating. At least I sweat when I play, because you get nervous and stuff. Or you can just be sitting there watching 24. So you can play Jack Bauer, aka Mo Bauer, or you can watch it. So that's kind of the way I feel about it. What are you thinking? Do you run into a lot of friction yourself?
Personally, I've been, I guess what I've been received with is more like genuine interest. Like if I say, if someone asks me like what I'm doing when I'm traveling so frequently in a given month, and like at first I'm like hesitant to tell them. I'll just say like, yeah, I'm traveling for a competition. And if they keep digging and digging, then I'll be like, okay, I play video games. Like I'm going to a competition to play video games on some computers against some other people in one of these cities. And they're like, oh, that's really cool. And it's, at one point in time, if you were to say that, people would be like, what the hell? Is that dangerous? Like, are you going to, meet up with a bunch of rapists that you met on the internet? Especially if you're a younger kid, like 15, 16 years old, and you're about to do this, your parents are, like, legitimately scared, and they think that you're going to go get beaten up or raped or killed or something when you go to one of these events. But now it seems as though, like, parents, kind of expect this from the kids. The kids do this more frequently. So I was just wondering, like, why is it more socially acceptable now versus then, and why are people doing it more? More people are going to LAN parties, and parents are cool with it now. Like parents have no problem sending their 16-year-old off 6-hour drive away to an event.
I think some parents still wouldn't be cool with it, but I don't know, man. Awareness has really changed. I mean, there's so many events, and gaming is just, I mean, like what Ryan said, I mean, there's so many people now that play games on their phones or their iPads or even on Facebook while they're at work. Back in the day when I started gaming, that wasn't the case. And when I told someone I played games, they definitely, I don't know, looked kind of sideways at you. So I think the times have definitely changed.
See, that's a weird thing. I don't know. It's usually secondhand or through the media, or I see this in other ways. Various interactions with that sideways look. And anytime I hear about it, or encounter or see it, think, are you? I just don't get it. Okay, so I was at a family deal a few weeks ago, and one dude was talking about his nephew. His nephew's like, I don't know, 22 or something like that. And so his uncle was saying, yeah, this guy's always playing fucking games, and what's that to do with your life and this and that? And I'm just sitting there listening because I didn't want to throw the whole family get-together under the bus, but I honestly didn't understand it. You know, because that same guy, what is he doing? He's going to go home and he's going to watch TV. You have to have downtime. You have to be sitting on your ass. I mean, you don't have to be. There's some people who are like physical elite specimens and they're always doing something. But I don't know. For the average person in an urban environment, you're going to sit down and you're going to watch TV. You're going to read a book. You're going to just sit and bullshit with people. How about this? You know, I knew guys that, you know, growing up, the men, they go out, they go to a bar and they drink. So they go to the bar, and people still do this. It's not like this is done, but they go to a bar, and they sit there and they drink. And we're not talking about go to a bar because you're trying to hook up. People will just go to a bar and fucking just talk and socialize, right? And pound them. Well, now there's this other medium, online gaming, at least for casual players. You know, I can't say this is the same for you, Josh and Mo, who are out there making money.
Well, that's what LAN parties are. LAN parties are just to go and just hang out with people you've met online. LAN tournaments are something different.
Okay, so with these LAN parties, or if you play like I do, casual, I sit at my keyboard, drinking coffee, water, booze, whatever I feel like, and you get on the vent, and you talk to people. And if there's a quest or you have some mutual goal that you all agree on, you create a strategy and various tactics for that strategy, and you pursue this quest, and you're actually accomplishing things. You know, yeah, just because you get the fucking gold, or you know, in CS, if you keep wiping the other team off the map, you don't actually get to hang that in your house and have it forever. But what's the alternative? You go to the bar, you go sit and watch TV. So with that sideways look, Apoc, I mean, that's just a weird goddamn thing, and I've never. Well, you know, I don't know, maybe I ignore it if people give it to me, but it doesn't even make sense. I mean, can you actually make sense of that? I mean, this is something I've talked about with people before, and it flabbergasts me all the time, because it's just the way you spend your time. It's not like you're wasting it.
To be honest, man.
Yeah. No, I agree with Ryan on this.
When I talk to people...
I interrupted you.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I don't know, for me, the sideways look mostly came from when I was like a teenager, and... you know, I wasn't even of age to drive, and hitching a ride with a friend of mine that I met in Quake that lived here in Vegas as well, to go to like tournaments in California to bring home some money. And they'd say like, well, how are you getting money? And I'd say from gaming. I don't know, man. They didn't really think it was legit. You know what I'm saying? That feeling. It's almost like...
Well, you know what? Back then, that wouldn't feel legit though. I mean, okay, let's be realistic. Okay, when you were a kid, all right, if you're going out and playing Quake, I remember Quake. The first time I heard you could make money off gaming, I was like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Off of fucking playing game? Throwing pixelated lead down range at dudes like Mo and Josh? I can't even imagine. And then when we had our last cast, I'm hearing that Josh is regularly doing this, and right then and there, you obviously know how out of the loop I was with the whole pro gamer thing. I didn't realize it was even that far ahead now, and I don't look sideways. I think that's fucking badass. If you could make your yearly salary just punching people and knifing them and laughing and teabagging them for fun, of course, okay, that's an awesome deal. And to think that you can make money from it, yeah, that definitely is a strange thing, especially though, Apoc, back when Quake was big. I'm thinking back to that time, and that would be like, are you fucking kidding me? But to me, that'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? And I'd explode because I want to go. That is awesome.
It was big,
how about you, Mo?
It wasn't money like, like some people make. Some gamers these days are making like 6 figures salary alone. Yeah. It wasn't like that when I was doing it.
I feel like I agreed with Ryan about this. Like, it just doesn't make sense that people have a sideways view about it. Especially when sometimes in the media you see someone like killing a bunch of people and they blame video games somehow.
Oh yeah.
That happens like once every 6 months or so now.
Probably more frequent than that.
That's probably why now it's like it's more socially acceptable because video games are just huge now. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, but at the same time, it's also frowned upon as something that you do it if you're really not dealing with real life. You know what I mean? But like you said, yeah. But when you're making money, like, I mean, the CGS, for instance, was a huge thing. Like you're talking, Ryan, it was just like it was a salary, yearly salary to play the video game, and on TV for that. And that would, and if you look at places like Korea where they're making, so like you said, 6 figures for playing like StarCraft or something, that's amazing to me. They're literally celebrities over there. So I just feel that it's more socially acceptable now because you can actually, you know what I mean, you could actually be successful in it.
Yeah, it's a viable solution to actually as a career. In some cases, not like it's still hard. Like it's like
rare.
Taking a risk. Yeah. It's taking a risk, like playing hockey or becoming an actual sports.
Yeah, athlete, like being a real athlete. It's hard to get into, but you can do it.
But what you were talking about the CGS and like StarCraft, that brings me like directly into my next point, which is like CGS and CPL scale events. They used to be around in the past. They were there 2005, 2006, 7, 8, until CGS died, CPL died, Cal died, all that crap. But we see that, MLG is expanding. MLG deals with StarCraft. Why? Okay, the first thing I guess I would want to ask is, why is it kind of oscillating? Why is it like small, then big, then small, then big? Like what's going on in esports, and why is it just like on and off over the years? Is it because of management? Is it because of publicity? What is it? And I'll throw this to, I think Mo would have the best answer for this right now.
I honestly would think that the reason is that competitive gaming is such a small part of actual gaming as a whole. If you look at it, where people playing for competitiveness are so much smaller than the big picture. Big companies, they see all these actual gamers that play every day just for fun on public servers and stuff. When they target them mostly, they really don't care about the gaming part of it, the competitive gaming part of it. They just care about the mass gamers. So when you're constantly bringing up new versions of games, which mass gamers want, that's why different games go down. Like 1.6, for instance, it's still pretty big. It's lasted this long. It's probably gonna last, few more years at most. Versus the same way, they're always gonna be on their way down as time goes by, because gamers are always, it's technology. It's always advancing. There's always a new game coming out, and when that happens, the mass is gonna move over, and it's only those competitive gamers that are gonna stick around, and it just gets smaller and smaller as people have real life things to do, and they start, players retire out of gaming for competitiveness and start just playing for fun. And that's what most gamers are players that play for fun purely.
Awesome.
One thing I'm wondering. Oh, Mo, one thing I'm wondering about here is, and this was sort of lingering in the back of my mind, and I bet you anything, if we had our chat channel up and running, people would be just pouring this question in like crazy. Okay, so they're sending it to me telepathically.
Oh, by the way,
ask Mo this.
Make sure we can't open up the chat right now. We don't know what's going on with Twitch TV chat. So if you have any questions, you need to tweet them at TWiG TV. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, good idea. Absolutely. Tweet the shit out of Apoc there so he can start feeding those questions to Mo Money here. But Mo, what I'm wondering at is, why sponsor? Why? Okay, so why? Why would I sponsor a pro gamer or a pro team? And you're like, well, Ryan, you're not going to do it. Okay, fine. I'm Intel. Why am I going to do that? I feel like there's not enough exposure. Now, and this coming from a guy, I love games. I love the idea that you can go out and make some money off it. I love the idea even if you can't make money off it. But what's so attractive about sponsoring? I feel like, see, obviously, okay, I game. The last cast we did, I was kind of surprised that, Josh talking about, oh, I got a tournament this week and next week and whatever. And so, obviously, the media exposure doesn't seem to be there. Or do you guys think I'm wrong about that and just living in a fucking cave? Because why would anybody support you?
Now, companies like Intel and SteelSeries and all the Intel is a processor company, so it's gonna make its money regardless. As long as there's a computer made, it's gonna make its money. It doesn't really have to advertise in the gaming community, but it wants to show that our latest processor is able to run the latest game at high performance. But that's just to show the mass media. Like, mass people will know this via blogs, via whatever. Now, the sponsors that are fairly big in gaming are, for instance, gaming mice, a mouse that's really good for gaming, and a mouse pad. Now, these companies are purely looking at gamers because when you're a professional gamer, you have a fan base. It's like being an athlete, only on a smaller scale. These you'd be surprised of how many people message me asking me for my exact settings, the exact gear I use. Over the years, it must have in the thousands of how many like kids took the time to write me an email or a message, begging me to tell them what my settings are. If I'm able to tell everyone that I use a certain mouse and it's the best mouse I've ever used, and I guarantee you there's gonna be a big following of people buying that mouse for purely gaming bases, and because of that, they see it as it's like endorsing a product. You know what I mean? They want their product to be endorsed by the top gamers at that level. But I'm not gonna say like me saying I use an Intel processor is gonna get Intel more sales. Intel's gonna get its sales because it has the best quality. It already done its job. It's like AMD, Intel, those big companies. They already have it. They just do it pretty much to show off. I mean, they have millions of dollars in marketing budgets. They just want to show like, hey, we want our name to. It's more of advertisement for them rather than sponsorship. You know what I mean? They just want to. They want their name on everything. You know what I mean?
It is that, like, it is kind of like a show and tell type of thing. But if, let's say, Intel sponsors an event, a non-BYOC event, so like with tournament computers, and the players play on those computers, and it's like, you know, you play at home with your comp from 2005, and this is like a brand new Intel processor, and you see how fast the game loads, or Windows loads, or whatever the fuck loads, and then people ask you like, oh, how are the comps? Or you're just gonna be like, they were amazing, and people are gonna be like, oh, maybe Intel processors, let me look into them. Oh, hey, look, they are, and he likes it, let's get it. So it is both like show and tell, and it is as well actually getting sales off of your name. So just wanted to throw that in there.
No, that's excellent. I guess I wasn't really aware. You know, Mo said that he's had over the years thousands of kids write him and say, what are your settings, what kind of mouse are you using, what are you doing with your keyboard, and you know, that makes a lot of sense. Damn, I'm just still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that I wasn't so keen.
It's funny. You're right, dude. It's like a weird thing that you could actually have gaming be considered like almost as a sport, where people want the best gear, they have their favorite players, they follow their favorite teams. During the CGS time, this was huge. I mean, they had websites. We had to do weekly blogs to just stay in tune with the fans, so the fans knew. We had to update fans or they would get mad at us why we're not updating them on how our practice is going and stuff like that. So it's just like, it's really cool to know that there's some, you know, people out there that genuinely are waiting to see your results, are, you know, rooting for you. I had people from like the Middle East, you know, since I'm Arabic background, I've had a lot of Middle Eastern following message me, say they're very happy that like I represent them in a way. I'm sure, you know, every player that's had them, Josh probably not so much, but other players.
Good one. I guess the other fork in the road that I wanted to ask off this discussion question was, what makes certain games more popular? We saw CPL and CGS was huge for Counter-Strike. What makes Counter-Strike big, and what makes it bigger than other games? What makes Quake big, and what makes StarCraft big, and why is like MLG the biggest thing right now that's going off? Well, I think it's the biggest. I think APOC would have a better look into that, but like the frequency of the events, the scale of the events, and just the media and attention, I would say that it's probably the biggest at the moment.
Is MLG mostly like StarCraft now? Because when I was playing it, it used to be a lot of Halo on console games and other console games, and it was huge. And they had it like a tour style where they actually had a Major League Gaming tour. They'd have it every year and a bunch of stops in different cities, and they had the right idea. I think out of any actual organization, MLG had the best idea for a league because they kept it. They didn't start too big, but they slowly expanded, and now they're just huge.
Yeah, StarCraft's setting it up right now for MLG. I think the other side games are like what? I know Halo barely gets played. What's the other shooter? Do you know, Josh? There's
Halo,
another shooter.
COD.
Yeah, I don't think it's COD. Maybe it is.
Is it on a console still?
Yeah, it's another console one.
I don't know. I wouldn't know much about the console. I can't move my fingers like that.
Yeah, MLG's growing the most. I mean, as far as North America goes, I'm pretty sure MLG's by far the largest right now. In fact, just in the past week, they got funding. I know that they got 13.1 million to fund their expansion in like the next year. So they're definitely planning on adding quite a bit. A lot more dates. I think they're going in.
That's amazing.
I don't know if you guys have heard, but they're pretty much trying out the style of pay-per-view only events, though, which there's a lot of controversy about.
I think, well, isn't like people are going to this barcraft stuff, like barcraft. That's something that's fairly new as well. Basically, people go to the bar, have a few drinks, eat peanuts, hang around tables, and watch famous Koreans and North Americans and Europeans battle it out over StarCraft, and they watch it on projectors in bars. I mean,
I can't do that, honestly. But that's me. Like, I don't get the. I get it, but I can't sit there and just watch like a strategy unfold.
Well,
I don't appreciate the game enough. I don't.
Well, that's StarCraft. Let's say it was like strike bar.
I feel like I wouldn't watch it. I honestly wouldn't even watch that. But at least I'd understand. I'd watch that more. I bet. You know what I mean? Like because I'll understand what's going on exactly.
Yeah.
So when you watch tournaments, then Mo, what do you do? Sit at home alone?
No, at tournaments I understand. Like I understand tournaments. I don't watch tournaments per se. I just watch maybe the finals of a tournament because to me that's like the best teams at that time going at it, and it's good to see like. You know, just good teams, good players play against each other. But by no means am I going to sit there and watch the early stages of a competition where it's one good team versus a terrible team running around and just a boring thing to watch. It's probably boring for the players too.
You know what though? That's Counter-Strike talking out of you right now. Because if you go and watch a StarCraft tournament, literally every single player has the potential. Every single player that goes has the potential. Like there's at least 16 to 32 players that have the potential to
see that
it just comes down to
interesting right there.
Yeah.
Look at history. Like at least since I've been gaming 14 years, over these years I've never seen any game blow up like StarCraft has, especially as a spectator sport where people like actually enjoy watching it. I mean, so did StarCraft 2 just come in at the right time? I don't really think so. I think it's just the game.
It's StarCraft in general, because it was huge before StarCraft 2.
Yeah, well, dude, only in Korea though, and even
that's true,
right? So I mean, that doesn't really say much about the rest of the world, right?
But it's like look at it like the NBA, for instance. It's bigger in China than it is here. NBA, National Basketball League in America, is bigger than in China. So it just shows the world really like once they put their mind to something, they can make it huge. You know what I mean? So like the Koreans they made StarCraft what it is, and then it rolled over to America, and now everyone's playing it like this, and they're trying to. I don't know who's the best StarCraft player in the world.
No, dude, it was because a new one came out, and it's really entertaining to watch. Like I know a lot of guys. I shouldn't say a lot. I can think of like 2 or 3 guys off the top of my head that I know that don't even play much StarCraft 2, and they're very, very bad at StarCraft 2, but they're fanatics at watching it, and they know the game insanely well. Like I'll take a week, a couple weeks off playing, and they'll be telling me about new builds, So,
yeah, no, I know exactly
so
what
on
you're
top
saying.
of it. It's entertaining to watch.
If I took the time to, I guess, understand the game more, I bet I would enjoy it more.
Yeah, there are people I know, like even like Sunman and Sauce, people that we play Counter-Strike with and against. They watch the StarCraft, they spectate it, they understand it, but do they play it? More recently, yes. But they don't play it to just like for fun. They play it just to understand what's going on, and they're terrible at it. And they started playing it after they watched it. But it is more of a spectator thing, I think, than anything else. Like it's just like football or soccer. People will watch it and be complete ass cheek at it and not even play it. They won't do a pickup game. They've never played a league at it before, but they'll watch it and they'll be sports fans. I think that's just a social thing, though, a way to, a way to just unleash, unload, just sit down, crack get a beer, drink a beer, watch it with friends, watch it by yourself. Crank a beer, whatever, crack it.
I gotta say, recently I was checking out Twitch TV, and I've not watched a lot of that. But I think that, as a medium, Twitch TV is doing some good things for gaming. I had just happened to turn it on, and I came across a StarCraft 2 tournament, and I want to say this might have been a month ago. And I've never played it. I played StarCraft back when it came out, and that's about it. But this tournament, man, was actually something. And the announcers, oh shit! I was literally impressed. These guys, they were thinking so quickly and calling shots, just like you guys ever watch MMA? You know, Joe Rogan and is it Goldberg? You know, they're ringside. They're talking about, okay, he's got a Kimura. He needs to toss Kimura to get out of this, or to crank the guy's arm, and stuff like that. The on-the-fly analysis. And there was so much these guys were just spewing out of their mouths during this tournament. I was seriously impressed. It definitely made it more engaging. And, one thing I was wondering is, and it seems like it might be self-evident, but I want this confirmed, is StarCraft 2 kind of like, a faster version of chess where you can study it, you can know solid patterns that you should, engage in and that sort of a thing, and they're kind of predictable, yet there's always the possibility of something else that could happen.
Absolutely.
It's like our age's chess. That's the way I think of it, because it has the strategy, and I think it really hits the same part of your brain that like chess does, where you have to think strategy and
you have to think ahead.
Exactly. You have to be thinking ahead. You have to be thinking all the time, what could they do that could potentially beat you, But then there's also other elements into it, like scouting, and also, Twitch ability, which I think is like genetics, so like some people are going to be good at it or not. I mean, you have to be fast, you have to be accurate, you have to, that takes practice, but I mean, some people are going to be amazing, some people just can't be amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some of these guys I saw, they were fucking fiends. They were just multitasking maniacs, just swapping their screens and toggling between units. Their hands were all over their hotkeys. It's incredible. It actually inspired me to want to go play. I just don't have the game yet.
What tournament?
That's probably one of the main reasons I couldn't understand it, because it's going so fast-paced that literally looking at a guy's screen, he's all over the place. He's literally going through a bunch of different areas at once. And I'm like, what's he doing here?
Don't watch your stream.
Yeah, but okay. Have you watched?
You gotta watch a
tournament.
tournament.
Have you watched Quake? Have you watched Quake, Mo? Played it?
Yeah, I've watched and played it, and like Painkiller and stuff. No, but you could see that he's trying to kill the other guy. Like this one is just like.
Yeah, but you still in Quake. You're just like around the map in 2.0 seconds.
You're pretty fast.
Pre-firing shit, and it's the same thing. But there's Whoopi Goldberg in Goldzerg, sorry, not Goldberg, in chat brought up a good point about the casters for these events, which Ryan was talking about just like a few minutes ago, which is good casters and great viewability helps StarCraft 2, and that's a great point in the sense that if you have people like Day9's absolutely phenomenal at analyzing the game, and for noobs and like more veteran players alike, you can break down like exactly what's happening and predicting exactly what's going on. And I think more analysis style casting is a lot better because it's a lot more enjoyable than like a play-by-play type cast. And I mean, if tell me if I'm wrong, or if you have different opinions, guys, because I that's the same way that I've started casting Counter-Strike source matches recently, and instead of doing play-by-play, like, oh, huge frag here, oh, huge frag there, I actually talk about the strats being used and what I like and dislike about it, and what I think should happen instead, or what I predict one of the teams are going to do, or what one of the teams should do as a strat to secure them rounds.
We have a question, by the way. Do you guys think MLG will pick up CSGO?
If they do, I will switch to CSGO 100%.
I think that Valve's going to put money into it like they put money into Dota 2, and I think that will help it. I think that CSGO is going to be successful no matter how bad the game is, no matter how fucking dog shit it is, how much I can be pissed off about how there's clutter and fog and all sorts of crap all over the place. I think no matter any of that, it's going to be successful and take off just because it is going to be new. It's going to look good to the Call of Duty and Battlefield 3 players. It's got the competitive aspect already built in from the get-go. It's not like there's a competitive mod. It is, right from the start, competitive mode built in, and I think it's really going to pick up. So yes, I do think that it can be big and can be MLG we'll pick it up.
You know, Mo, if you're trying to learn StarCraft, I was gonna say earlier, but I think just watching tournaments, dude, is the best way, because then you can pick up on stuff slower. Like, if you watch a stream, I think people that watch streams should be watching it to learn, you know, techniques or tips or really direct builds that are being used in matchups. You know, like more advanced stuff to improve upon their own game. You know, because, I mean, stuff's going to happen so fast, especially if you watch someone like Huck or something like that with some insane APM. You're not going to be able to follow what the hell's going on, so it's probably best just to watch, you know, like tournaments.
Like live? Like go to a tournament and watch?
No. Watch, dude, there's so many streams. Why would you go, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you can go to something live, it's local. Like IPL will be here in Vegas next month, I'll go to that. But other than that, I mean, no, why go live? You can just watch it on the stream.
I'm going to be brutally honest right here. I used to watch TV before I went to bed. I'd load on like an episode of South Park or something. Recently, actually not recently, recently I haven't been doing this before I go to bed, but like several months ago, I'd load on like a StarCraft stream. I'd go to Team Liquid, I'd find a stream of someone I liked who's a Terran player, and I'd literally fall asleep watching a stream.
Yeah. You shouldn't have told us that.
I'm maybe the biggest nerd in the world, but Mo, I mean, let's be real here. You play Counter-Strike. Shut up, you're a huge...
What are you talking about, dude? I'm a professional soccer player. That's what I tell everyone.
You gotta realize too, Mo, like, see, Counter-Strike, I mean, I'm no expert at Counter-Strike, right? But I know enough about it to know that the complexity of Counter-Strike is nowhere, it's not even a fraction of StarCraft.
I mean, here's the thing about with Counter-Strike is you have to have 5 different players all on the same page, whereas in StarCraft,
Sure.
you're by yourself. So if you have the mental capacity to do it, you're able to do it. But to have to deal with 5 players, and especially if you're calling the strategies.
Yeah, and if you're playing with players like Mo, yeah, it's pretty.
Where I just make plays all the time, you know, all audibles on. You know what I mean? It could go both ways. I mean, if you're a natural StarCraft player, you're gonna think StarCraft is a harder game. Come to Counter-Strike, you're not gonna do so well. Same way, other way around. You're a Counter-Strike player trying to compete at a high level. That's why you don't see, like in athletics, where you see like a professional football player can be good at basketball, for instance. You'll never see that in gaming realistically, unless it's another, like a first-person shooter can be good at another first-person shooter. But I don't think he's gonna be able to be a top player at the same time. I'm saying they could maybe like take years off and practice something, but being able to be that good at the same time at 2 different games is almost impossible now.
Bo Jackson.
Oh no, for sports for sure. People have done it. It can't be the same for gaming. I don't think. There's not enough time in the day.
I'm gonna put your theory to the test, and I'm gonna start playing StarCraft 2 as much as I play Counter-Strike Source.
We'll cut you. Mute me.
Okay.
We'll cut you, he says.
Okay.
We'll cut you, dude. It's hard. It's not. I mean, gaming isn't easy, dude. Like, if you're gonna be on a top level of it, you can't. You know what I mean? You can't juggle 2 different games if you're trying to be the best at one game. It's impossible.
You know, I got a question here that's kind of related. You know, I asked Joshua this the last time we were talking. Mo, Counter-Strike, how long do you think you're going to stick around with the Counter-Strike game before you move on to something that's more profitable, more mainstream?
In terms of, like gaming-wise, I don't think so. Anything like, I'm not thinking gaming is going to be like that thing for me that's going to, to be profitable. Obviously, like real life stuff comes in the way, but I feel that I'll always be a gamer in terms of like, even if it's, 3 a.m. one night, I'm coming home from some friend's house or something, I'm gonna play some video games. I'm gonna play some Counter-Strike. I'm not gonna stay at a competitive level for much longer, simply because I just feel I'm not too, like, I don't want to say too old per se, or it's just that at the end of the day, it's not going to be that thing that I'm not Fatality, you know what I mean? Like, where he's making, 6 figures, multiple, like, endorsements, everything. He has his own product line pretty much out. If something like that happens, that'd be amazing. But to be realistic about it is having, like, getting a real life job and being able to still game and even maybe still compete, but like, I'm not going to be, naive enough to think I'm going to live off Counter-Strike.
Okay, now I'm under the impression that other games pay more money. There's a bigger purse to be had, even in terms of first-person shooters. So if that's true, what are the odds of you developing your skills in those games?
The only game that I would switch, develop my skills in, if it was to show potential of getting bigger, would be CS:GO. I will not play CS 1.6. I started at CS before 1.6 and played 1.6, and I've kind of moved with the times. But because Source got so huge, I committed all my time to it. And the only way I would commit time to another game as in that intensity would be if CS:GO was to show the same promise, as in sponsors would just pour a bunch of money into it and throw a bunch of tournaments around and pretty much send us all out onto the races to get the money. You know what I mean? I would switch to CS:GO if it showed that it had backing.
That actually brings me into my next point, which was sponsors and orgs. Are they more or less involved in esports scene at the moment? We see teams or organizations like EG. They have a LAN house in Arizona? Apoc can correct me there. And they have basically everyone living there. They have some monster fridge. They have gym membership fairly close by. They have a pool. They have a row of comps. They have
or their StarCraft.
They're allowed to have girls live in with them too.
Yeah, in Control. Well, in Control, it's because I forgot the girl's name, but Anna.
Anna Prosser.
Yeah,
I think is her name.
Yeah, it's because. Yeah, but that's besides the point.
Pictures with?
It's because she does she deals with a lot of the marketing stuff for EG. That's why she's there.
I'll show a picture on stream.
But I mean, EG.
So this is what Josh is streaming at night.
What?
That's really what he's streaming, dude.
But if you saw the EG LAN house, it's massive. But EG in Source, non-existent. EG in 1.6, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure they removed their support for that game.
They did remove their support, but I believe they said something along the lines of that when CS:GO gets big, they will pick up a team, in terms of something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's a common known thing right now within the orgs and the big companies that CS:GO is potentially going to take over, and all these teams are just kind of going to sit back and not waste any more money on the other games until that happens, and just concentrate on big games like StarCraft right now and stuff like that until CS:GO is fully announced and out and about. You know what I mean? Then I feel that you're just going to see an influx of orgs just go crazy, picking up as the best players they can, the best teams they can. That's exactly how Source took over, for a little bit.
All right, yeah. I think it's kind of sad that we see. I mean, I guess that's the way it has to be played. That sponsors and orgs will just go for only the games that have this minimum amount of numbers of viewers and players per day. Because I still think it is business, but there is still profit in going to Counter-Strike. It's Source, yeah. Maybe not as big, or even 1.6.
If it makes you feel better, dude, when Source first came out, it wasn't half as good as it is now. So it's just Go is obviously going to be bad, but I mean, I know it took you this long to be a top player, and you're probably scared that, I got to switch over to Go now. It's going to take me forever. But no,
I've only been playing competitively for 4 years. So
I'm just kidding, dude. You'll be able, if you're good at any Counter-Strike game, you'll be able to be good at the next one. I promise you that. But you can't start at one and be good at the one before that. That's my rule.
Okay, well, the next point I had was basically how are players treated these days versus in the past. I mean, as I was talking about the EG LAN house, everyone's allowed to live in the house, bring the girls there to live with them. They basically have minimal expenses, and they live in a house free, and they're actually given salary. Then they have their streams that they can run and make, probably thousands of dollars a month off that. I think they're living a pretty decent lifestyle. And, back with the CGS, there was a lot of comforts that came with it, and like, the Playboy Mansion, for example. I don't know what the hell happened there. I saw pics. That's all I saw. I wasn't around back when the CGS was around, so you'd have a little bit more say on that, and APOC would know a little bit more about the StarCraft scene. But how are players treated now by organizations, by competitors, and by just the rest of society?
Gamers in America, at least in the United States, now, I still think they're not treated as good as, like, well, it depends on the game you're playing, but, like, there was nothing like the CGS in terms of how a player was treated. It was just, like, first class all the way, dude. It's almost, you felt like you were a movie star almost, like, with the stuff they did for you. And you were on TV and you had to do, I can't explain the thing, like, you just had practice set schedules, you got to live by the beach for only the summers, and then you got paid year-round to just practice, like, whenever you wanted, pretty much. You only really had to work there in the summer where they had the major tournament and the taping. So it was pretty much you were getting paid to just live life. The EG players, for instance, the LAN house, that's good. I think it's a big thing for them. It's good for them, but I feel like players in other countries have been treated far better for way longer. I feel that, like you said, that like the StarCraft players now are getting paid all the attention. What about the StarCraft players in like Korea and all these big countries that have it? They were treated way better than the CS players back in the day. They're probably the best treated gamers of all time. So I think it just purely depends on how big the game is. Really, it's the fan base for the game.
Is it the size of the game, or is it the type of community? And does the community make the game bigger? And like we can see, the StarCraft community is absolutely massive. So many people play the game.
Competitive. That's the thing. A lot
it's
of
really
the
hard.
StarCraft community is competitive, and that's why it makes it like I said, like a lot of people play Counter-Strike and Counter-Strike Source and everything. But if you look at the people right now playing scrimmages compared to the people in public servers, it's millions to thousands, dude. They're like, it's far more. Yep. So I guess StarCraft, big sponsors pick it up and everything because it appeals to that competitive gaming, and that's how they're getting their sales. It's more competitive gamers. So more competitive gamers are gonna.
I don't think so, dude. I think it's just more entertaining to watch, dude. Look at it. Like in the past, at least all the games that I've played over the years, people that watch tournaments or people that would watch like streams or anything like that are the guys that are like either in the competitive scene or are trying to get into the competitive scene, right? No one else, like casuals, really, they don't give a shit, man. They just want to, they'd rather be sitting there playing in a pub, you know, getting owned than watching a competitive tournament or whatnot. But StarCraft's like the first game where you get the low level tier, the bronze players, the scrubs, whatever you want to call it, you know, watching tournaments and fanatical about it.
But how is that any better? Like, I'm pretty sure the world would rather watch like a Mortal Kombat type gaming tournament between two players, simple, watch them who wins that round. And
the world or gamers? Gamers, dude, are intelligent,
anyone,
bro.
No, but anyone in the world would rather like to be on TV. Like, for instance, CGS had a fighting game, and that was probably more popular than any other game. But the players that play fighting games now don't make $20 like a tournament. They barely make any money going to these big tournaments. They'll pay like $20 entry fee. They'll get the prize pot at the end, like, you know, $500, maybe $400. Compared to these StarCraft players, to society, it's more acceptable or more fun to watch those two fight rather than a big StarCraft game that's, and I'm talking about the mass society. I'm not talking about pure StarCraft lovers. I'm talking about the average little kid, 9-year-old watching TV, or 10-year-old to 20-year-olds watching TV, and they flip the channels and they see, oh look, that's, you know, Liu Kang fighting this guy, or, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's going to appeal to the masses way more, yet they get paid nothing, because that's why, like, I don't still think, I just think it's purely because there's more competitive gamers in StarCraft is why sponsors are following StarCraft.
Okay, what about League of Legends? And this was asked by a friend of mine as well. League of Legends is basically the epitome of casual game. Like, there's no competitive aspect to it. But, I mean, like the game isn't difficult is what I mean by competitive, but I mean there is a huge competitive following. There's huge, like the streams have hundreds of thousands. Like when I stream Counter-Strike Source, if I'm streaming a match, I'll get like 400 or 500 viewers for like a normal like CEVO match or whatever. But if someone's streaming the equivalent in League of Legends, they'll get like 50K plus viewers. So I mean,
they've had tournaments go all the way up to 230 something thousand viewers, concurrent viewers at a single time.
That is absolutely crazy. And StarCraft, I know like day 9 will have 50,000. What, Ryan?
They have 230,000 viewers for League of Legends?
Yeah, just one tournament, dude. And there'll be like, it'll be on a weekend where there's like 5 big tournaments happening. You know, and there's viewers all across.
What the hell's the draw with that game? I looked at it a little bit, and it's like fucking Hello Kitty Land or something.
You're like me, Ryan, dude. You're like me. Like you just, you know what I mean? Like you just. There's some certain games have draws. Like you said, League of Legends now. It's probably one of the fastest growing games right now in terms of players. Everyone I know, like you know, a game is taking over when you look at your Steam list and all your friends are playing League of Legends, and you're the only one not. And that's exactly what's happened to me like the past couple months.
Well, what's the draw? How is this happening?
Dude, they had a pretty smart model with it. I mean, they did the whole free-to-play thing, and they advertised it, and then they just threw a ton of money into the game. As far as getting tournaments going, they basically, it was not a competitive game. They made it a competitive game by just flooding money at it.
I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, they paid tournaments to use League of Legends over Han.
Yeah, for MLG.
Yeah.
LOL, League of Legends is at MLG. It's not because MLG decided that they want League of Legends instead of Heroes of New Earth or Dota 2. It's because Riot, the company that owns League of Legends, tossed them a ton of money.
That's probably how a game like CSGO would get into MLG. Yeah, they're never going to admit to it, though, but that's probably...
It's no secret. It just
that's
hasn't
how
been disclosed.
Source got into the CGS, to be honest. I'm pretty sure, you know, Valve paid a lot of money to get that game in. Where, you know, like, that's how it always works, I think. Like, you want to... Because it makes their game look better, and it gets them more players that way, I think. If they see that there's like if someone starting out sees that there's a lead for this game, he'd rather start playing this game than a game that has no real future, you know?
Yeah.
I just asked a question in the chat channel. Sorry, no, I'm just not seeing it, you know. And people are saying that League of Legends is free to play, and that's part of its draw. So I'm wondering how free to play is it? You know, what's the one you're playing, Apoc? I've seen a couple of your streams, and that game actually looks more appealing to me. Heroes of New Earth.
All right,
Dota or Heroes of New Earth.
So I'll explain it. Like League of Legends, basically their model on it is the game's completely free to play. All right, and what happens is the more games you play, specifically win, you accumulate points or coins or whatever you want to call it, online currency in the game, and you can spend that to get more heroes, right? So the game has, like, let's say 100 heroes, and you start off with only like 6, and you got to keep buying new ones. And if you want to do that faster, you know, then you can buy those coins. So that's how they get money, is they get people by saying, come play our game. Oh, but you know, people that have paid are going to have an advantage, or people that play this game 24/7 are going to have an advantage. And either to get on the same level playing field, you either need to pay or you need to play 24/7, and most people pay. So that's the model on it.
Do you pay a lot, or is it just average?
I really don't know, because I've played like 3 games of it, and I really thought the game was bad. You know, I have a couple people that like it though.
I refuse to play it.
I don't like it.
I refuse, just flat out refuse to even install it on my computer.
I just never play any other games, dude.
The difference is, what's weird about it is, like, all the MOBA type games are all kind of the same as far as like the mechanics, and they have deny, and they have you have to pay to teleport to the base or to teleport around the map. And League of Legends like kind of ripped that all out and made it like just super noob friendly. Like, here, you don't have to pay anything to teleport across the map, you know? Oh,
Yeah.
you don't need to deny their
Blank.
shit.
Yeah, deny. No, you can have a champion that denies.
You can hide
but-
every 2 inches. You know, there's fucking trees and grass and shit you can hide in all over the map. It's kind of it's retarded. Oh, everyone has a blink too.
Yeah, I haven't followed. I know everyone's got a TP and a blink, and once I heard that, I'm like, fuck, no, I'm not playing that game. But that we're talking about the next point that I had on the list here, which was there are a variety of games played, but there are only so many esports titles. You know, there's StarCraft, which expanded into StarCraft Brood War, which expanded into StarCraft 2. There was CS 1.6, which grew into Source, which grew into CS:GO, and there's Dota, which sprung out into Dota 2, League of Legends, and Han. Like, what is it about these esports titles that pick off, or take off, not pick off, that really make these games huge, as opposed to other games that don't become as successful? And then again, I am missing out on a lot of games because I'm focusing on PC, not like console. So I'm missing out on the Halo. I'm missing out on the FIFA. World of Warcraft is a huge. I think casual. There aren't World of Warcraft tournaments, I don't believe, but I know that people that stream like WoW raids have like several thousand followers, and Apoc knows more about that than I do. But I'm leaving out like Halo for console. I'm leaving out like Call of Duty for that as well. The racing games, the sports games. I'm leaving out all of those because I don't know too much about those. But I mean, what is about these games that propel them forwards in esports? Well, there are other games that just get lost in space or the internet or whatever you want to call it.
Damn, one of these guys here in the chat saying that, what is it, Ruiniverse? He says there's lots of money to be made in WoW and Guild Wars, and somebody else chimed in that they knew a chick who took off her junior year to go make 100K in a WoW tournament. That is nuts. If that dude's not lying, I want to see a fucking link.
WoW Arena was huge.
Dude, WoW
phased out a lot though.
My brother was like a what do you call it? Was it Gladiator, or was that the #1 rank you can get for the WoW Arena? Anyway, he was one of the first gladiators on BlackRock or something like that, and he didn't make any money. So how are they making money? You know,
did he attend tournaments or?
Well, how is that happening with WoW? Like, I can understand with these LAN parties, you all fly out to, you know, Sparks, Nevada or something, rub each other off a little bit and play the games, get paid, right? But how do you do it in WoW?
You have to qualify.
Yeah, I don't know if it still happens in WoW. I remember when Arena was really popular, there was like constant 100K tournaments like every month almost for WoW Arena, because Blizzard just poured a whole bunch of money in these tournaments just to. But I don't know if they still have those Arena games, but I know those WoW players easily made like, there was a team that probably made like 400K in a 6-month period, like just doing that.
I now remember that there are WoW tournaments. I remember this because I remember seeing a YouTube video, and I know that there was a Source player in the background. It might have been like Sasquatch or Sauce or something, and there was this guy in a WoW raid with his teammate, and he literally just got so pissed off that he slammed like his mouse, his laptop, his sponsored laptop, and everything on camera. It was recorded. It was thrown on YouTube, and he just looks like the biggest pansy ever. So just throwing it out there that I was
actually looking at that link earlier. I don't know if you were there, but me and Trey were just laughing about it because it's the funniest how mad this guy got at his teammate, and he walked out. He literally just got up and started walking off,
and
because
he was
so
kicking
mad.
like the banners and everything inside the event area.
And this was a SK sponsored player, and SK is one of the most respected and biggest organizations in like all of esports.
Yep.
So that's funny.
Oh, someone already linked the video, but yeah, that's funny. But back to the point, like Brood War, StarCraft 2 and stuff. Apoc, do you have any info or any input on that?
As far as why some get picked up, man, it's really hard to say. I think that a game getting picked up really depends on the game, and then how successful it's going to go from there depends on like how good it is as far as a spectator sport goes, you know, how entertaining it is to watch. But it's hard to say, man, what games are going to get picked up and which aren't.
You know, one question I was wondering, this kind of backtracks just a tad, but You know, I really don't know. I do not watch a lot of streaming videos, you know, especially on like League of Legends. But when I did tune in, I felt like they had some sort of a viewer count associated with the tournament. Is that what happens? How do they, when you go to one of the tournaments, how do they stream it? What's the process there? You know, what I was watching is there's a commentator, and I saw this login screen, and I thought that person was not part of. I thought it was an impartial player, if that makes sense, or not a player.
They're not. They're commentator. It's like, imagine it like a UFC fight's happening, but instead of, you know, you just seeing the camera's going to like Joe Rogan and his guy, and they're talking, and generally they'll have a camera, you know, overlaid on it as well. And you're watching the fight like that. It's just like any other event, dude.
Okay.
It's like you're watching the fight from the fighter's eyes, almost. Is that how it is?
Yeah. Well, you have a computer that will basically have the stream loaded, and then that's how you can like click around and spectate. So for a game like StarCraft, you like, let's say Day 9 is the guy who's you know, commentating on it, and you'll have someone else. His computer, everything that's on his screen will go around, but there's going to be someone else that basically has some control panel that switches scenes. So they'll take it to some live video feed that's going on the computer, and that video feed's an interview with whoever just won, or it'll be an interview with, or it'll just be the host talking about the matchup, or it'll go to a different scene and there'll be commercials that are being run. So it's the exact same production as like a UFC fight, but it's for computer games, and then there's a computer that has obviously that you can see the actual screen in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have one computer that logs in as purely an observer that can access all views.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, dude. For a game to like be streamed and stuff, there has to be a spectator, you know, or observer feature built into the game. You know, any game.
And
Go ahead.
I actually wanted to bring this point up a while ago. It was that StarCraft 2 was built with a great spectator mod or mode, whatever. Like, you can see all the resources on the side, you know how many units players have. You can follow exactly what the player's screen's looking at, and it's basically great for spectating because you can see everything the player's doing and everything the players have. And Dota 2 actually incorporated this stuff, so you can actually, if you're spectating, you can actually follow around, like even where everyone's mouse is on the screen, you can see where the mouse is going as you're spectating them. So I think this is what Valve needs to work on in CSGO when they are creating the game. They should make a really good spectator thing where it's like a built-in GUI that you can actually see everything, get all the information that you need to see.
Yeah, I think for an FPS what would be really cool is if you can have some sort of a module that allows you to act like a cam at various corners, not just follow players, even kind of like a free movement cam where the what do they call them? The commentator can actually move freely or just toggle between a bunch of critical views aside of just following the player. That would be fucking sweet.
They can freely look around. It's just the problem is most commentators really miss out on the action sometimes, or it's usually the actual commentator isn't the one moving the camera, so the guy moving the camera kind of like the commentator pretty much has to commentate on whoever's moving the camera, what he's showing. So that's why it gets kind of lost right there. Like if you could actually have control of both the camera and while you cast, like Steel for instance when he does his casting, you actually catch a lot of the action from all angles, and it's really good. But you can't always have that.
Yeah, it's a lot harder in 5 versus 5 game like Counter-Strike because, you know, there's action happening at all angles of the map, and if I'm casting a match and Mo's there, Mo might be watching one person, I'm watching another, and he'll be talking about something that's happening on the other side of the map and I can't catch it. But if you have really good casters, it's easier in like 1 versus 1 games like StarCraft because you have Day 9, literally he used to play competitively StarCraft, so he knows what the hell he's talking about, he knows where to look at the action, and basically I think he's trained on like the mini-map. Like every second he glances over the mini-map and he sees whatever's going on, and then he'll go to wherever the action is. So, you know, he's got all the information on the sides, and he can talk about all the information you can read on the sides and make predictions off that, but he's always following wherever the unit is, wherever the drop is, wherever the battles are going on. He's able to scan between those and get maximum amount of action. And I think something a better just interface with a 5 versus 5 game like Counter-Strike needs to be implemented, where you can actually jump from, you want to be able to like click on the mini-map or something at a specific player and it'll jump to their point of view, just so that you're not, like what I have to do is click, 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 click to get to someone who's 7 spots away when I'm in the spectator mode. And then while I'm doing that, people are watching me just cycle through players and we're missing the action and we don't see who the hell's dying and who's killing who.
Well, in that most recent ESCA LAN, which we'll talk about more, but yeah, I don't know, man. They had a nice little UI for the spectator mode for Counter-Strike Source. I was impressed. It was really nice. It showed all the major info. As far as following the players, though, it looked like they were just clicking to go through each person's point of view, which...
And that was a major downfall of the CGS, was the only thing they couldn't get right was showing Counter-Strike right, like the right way.
It's built into the game, dude. That comes down to Valve.
No, the thing about CGS, though, they just showed third-person view. They never showed a first-person view of, like, if someone got an insane shot or an insane spray down. You know what I mean? Like, they never showed that kind of view, which hurt the game, I think.
I was watching a few videos from the CGS. Since I wasn't around back then, I was watching some videos like a couple of months ago, and they literally had static camera positions that they cycled through. So they'd have a position at one area of the map, and then they would cycle to that, and they could see players running up there. But you don't see the player point of view. And a lot of the time, spectators, especially in like a stream, if I'm streaming Counter-Strike, people like to see me make the shots, as opposed to people watching in Source TV and watching in like third person. They'd rather watch the player's perspective. They'd like to see how they're aiming, the angles, everything about what they're doing. And I think that was lost in CGS. And again, I was around back then, but it's sad to have missed it and missed the CPL. I missed all of that when I started playing Counter-Strike.
Yeah, man, CPL was really good. But, you know, you were talking about the CPL earlier, and people were like, well, what happened? You know, I think that gaming back then wasn't what it is today. You know, it wasn't as big as it is, and when so many tournaments popped up, it just thinned out the market. You know, and there just wasn't enough money to sustain, you know, a company producing events like that at, you know, at the quality level that they wanted to produce. So
that's true. I think CGS lost like $5 million or something crazy like that for like I think for a year, and they did it for 2 years. So for 2 years, if they're losing $5 million average a year, that's, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a
lot of money to pour. You know?
yeah.
Hey guys, did we lose our chat again in TWiG TV?
No, it's back up.
Mine's still good. Yeah, it's back.
All right, guys, I got a question here. If you guys are done talking CPL and camera views and stuff like that.
Go for it.
No, let's talk more camera views. No, I'm kidding you. I was totally into it. I got a question for you guys, though. This is huge. This goes back to something we were talking about earlier. I kind of want to pop the question to Mo, and Joshua here.
Will you marry me?
Yes.
What are your devices? Okay? What kind of devices do you use? All right? Now, that was my joke. I hope everybody's laughing at home. You know, little play on words. Devices. You know, I'll just say real quick. My first, like, sweet-ass piece, okay, aside of a chick, was this right here, okay? The N52.
What is that?
Very classic. Owned fucking asses with that. Oh, you can see.
It looks like Terminator with that, dude.
It's old school.
So what does a pro player use? I want to know what you guys are using. I want to know about your mice. I want to know if you're using the G50.
This is just free endorsements right here. Are they going to sponsor the show, guys? Hey,
you're gonna make
hey guys, sponsor the show for him, dude.
Funny that you asked me that, because I actually do have some shit lying around here. Okay, first thing, one sec.
And this shit, this shit, ideally, now you can show historic pieces, but I want to know what you're slaughtering fools with right now. That's key.
This is the exact same keyboard that I'm using one that's plugged in, and this is the exact same thing. This is a mechanical keyboard. Since I'm not sponsored by Razer, I'm not going to tell you that the product name is a Black Widow. But no, this is a mechanical keyboard, and this is I guess the new era of keyboard peripheral, because the mechanical switches makes it so much more responsive to your key clicks. And then also on keyboards, I don't use them personally, but other people that play different games will have more use for them, are the macro buttons on the sides. So here you can program these macro keys to be whatever the hell you want, and it's more useful in like Dota or Han or, well, actually probably World of Warcraft only, but you can also program them to whatever the hell you want them to be in whatever game you're playing. So having that on your keyboard is definitely a plus. And then
that keyboard has keyboard in you.
What?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, is that black switches? Cherry blacks?
Blue.
They put cherry blues on those? Are you sure?
No.
Does anyone know in the chat if the Black Widow has black? Is it cherry black or cherry blue?
In the meantime.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the
Ask me
meantime,
your rest, right?
before you go into the mouse, I gotta ask you, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you remapping when you use that keyboard? Are you going WASD or are you playing?
I'm WASD. I'm
Okay.
WASD. Yeah.
And are you setting up those macros on the left-hand side?
No, I do not use the macros. They are there if I need them to be, but since I go to like BYOC or not BYOC, NBYOC, so tournament computers, I like to just plug and play everything I have, plug it in, and I want to be able to go right away. And that's why the mouse I use is the Xi from SteelSeries. And I'm not trying to like advertise them or anything by any means, but the reason why I like this mouse is because I know other people have problems with like their DPI and their polling rate if they plug in their mouse and they don't have the drivers on. With this, it's literally plug and play. You set up everything on the mouse and the drivers stick with it. So right as I plug this mouse in, I have my 900 DPI, my polling rate's 900 hertz, and I'm good to go right off the get-go. I just plug it in and I'm ready to frag. And there are other mice, older mice, that you have to configure a lot of shit, and Logitech drivers are complete ass cheek, so that plays a huge factor in as well. That's the same reason why with this headset I haven't installed the drivers for this at all, because there are drivers for it, but I just plug it in. It's USB and I just go.
What's the comfort like on that headset?
The comfort on this is actually really nice. This looks to be pretty decent quality where it's I can wear this for hours and it won't affect me. Even I have these shitty Thermaltake ones which weren't too bad either, but you can definitely tell in the quality of the headset just from feeling it that if it feels like it's gonna break instantly, it's probably uncomfortable. But if it feels like it's decent materials, depends on the packaging, like if it comes in like a suede fucking whatever the hell, then it's probably gonna be a little bit more comfortable to wear. I've worn some pretty shitty feeling ones, but these ones are actually really nice.
Okay, what's the brand on those and the price point, real quick?
These are Plantronics Gamecom 780.
And if you don't know it.
The price, because I got this free, I got it sponsored directly from Gamecom for Plantronics CSGO tournament a few months ago. I think they retail this one, yeah, $80, so 80 to $100, I guess, depending on where you're looking. So it's not like a super expensive one like the Sennheiser HD 555, but it's not super cheap like Joe Blow's headset.
I'll tell you what, 80 to $100 to not have your ears fucking burn off your head, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah,
yep.
I agree.
So Mo, what are you rolling with?
Alright, I've been with the same mouse since the beginning. I'm not like these guys who just switch a mouse every other day because they want to try out a new one. But it's the MX518 from Logitech. My only thing is, like 3 years ago, they switched the mouse case on the bottom, and I refused to switch to the newer one. But it was pretty much the same exact mouse, just they changed the mouse case on the bottom, so it felt different. So I literally stocked up on all the old mouse case, or all the old mice, like I bought like 10 of them, and just kept using them until they all broke. And now I'm using the new version one, which I'm getting used to finally, but I'll never switch from the MX518. I just feel that it's the best mouse ever made. Just
why is that?
It just responds so well to everything, and Josh brought up a good point about configuring your mouse. I mean, it's not that hard. You just have to get a driver, and some tournaments won't get you the right drivers or whatever, but for the most part, most tournaments you'd be able to configure it right to like 500 hertz. That's what I used, and at the deep. I think my D-pad is only 800. I don't really care. Like I'm more stock than anything. I'm like she said, just plug and play. My mouse pad is a QCK Plus from SteelSeries. It's really old. I don't know if they even still make them, but I switch mouse pads out like once every 3 years, so I don't even care. Mine's really. I remember I had a brand new mouse pad once. Oh, there's.
This is a heavy. It's
Yeah.
basically the exact same thing, except it's thicker at the sides here, so I can get it closer.
Yeah, mine's like half of that in terms of thickness.
Thickness.
Now, I remember one good story about this is I was at a LAN tournament and I had my old one and it was just really worn out, and I got a new one for free, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use it, and it was just so like new and silky that it just messed up my whole aim. So what my friend suggested I do is he took it, threw it on the ground, and just had a bunch of players just walk on it back and forth. We just left it on the ground for a couple of hours, then I picked it back up and put it, and it felt perfect. So just like to break in your mouse pad, I suggest you just throw it on the ground and have people walk over it till you break it in for gaming tournaments.
Fuck that.
No, I can't do like it's all like mine has freaking all kinds of stains. Some of them.
Yeah, you probably eat
I
it
don't
in your
know
comp
from
and
where.
drop crumbs and like
Yeah,
grease
dude,
it all
just-
over the pad.
alright,
That's
alright,
disgusting. Toss it in the
Cool,
wash.
dude.
It's a cloth
let's
pad.
judge,
Toss it
let's
in.
judge people, dude. Let's judge people now. Cool. I guess we're judging freaking American Idol over here.
But I don't know how you go through like you were talking about the mouse kits on the 518. I don't know how you go through mouse kits like that, because on a cloth pad you're gonna have less friction, and
Have you seen me play, dude? I have the lowest sense, and I move my whole
Oh,
arm, so I just grind
yeah.
on that
Yeah.
bitch. You know what I mean? I break my mouse probably mostly just due to like just squeezing the shit out of it.
yeah.
But you know,
You
that's
chafe
what-
your arm when you game. Yeah, I get
A
it.
man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, dude. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Do you even lift, Josh? I'm just kidding. That's it. And my headset is I've never been attached to headsets. I'll use whatever I can. I've used iPod headphones at a tournament before. It doesn't matter to me. But this one is my favorite one. It's Sennheiser. I don't know what kind it is. It's just a Sennheiser, but it's an actual headset with a mic. Not just the ones, because usually Sennheiser would just give you the headphone area, not the headset. But the mic is broken, and I'm using a $10 mic around my neck too right now. So
Yeah.
if anyone wants to just send me a headset, TWiG.com for the tournament, I might use the ones that Josh is wearing on around his neck. Right? Yeah, that's exactly what I look like right now, but just a smaller like headset on my neck. But yeah, my keyboard is literally a $10 Microsoft keyboard. My main thing is the shift key has to be a certain size. Like I just look at it has to be a little bigger than the normal. You know what I'm talking about? Because some shift keys are like
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
size of the caps lock.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
take a look at this then. This is I got from ESWC, so it's a French layout one. I'm gonna move it right up here. The shift key
I can't.
is
I can't
smaller.
play with that. I can't play with that shift key at all.
This is shift.
I'll die.
It should be the width of these two keys.
Yeah.
But this
If
key is a French key, and it's removed from the other side of the keyboard. And
Look how big the other shift is compared to that shift.
yeah, this
Yeah.
shift key is twice the size. But other people I know have a problem with the enter key being this, I guess, long block instead of just the straight horizontal line.
Yeah, I don't
because
mind it as much.
People play
that
with the
long
arrow
block.
keys, and they need the extra keys to game, and definitely it's personal preference. But I mean, I got used to this, and it's not an issue to me.
Yeah, I just need the shift key to be there because I use shift as a main part of like my movements. So other than that, dude, I'm very stock. Monitor-wise, I don't mind LCDs or CRTs. I use a CRT at home because I have one. I bought a brand new LCD like 3 years ago, and it just broke down on me. Like half the screen just completely went out, and half was working. So I have no idea what that's about.
Did you punch it?
And
And be honest, did you punch it?
What do you mean? No, I've never punched it, dude. It was like a $400 screen. I was really excited about it. It was the first like 2 ms LCD screen. Like it was supposed to be like a revolutionary screen, and I was excited. And I used it for like a week, and then that happened, and I never returned it.
That sucks.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use whatever like CRT. The hertz, I guess I'm on what 75 or 85 hertz right now. Average settings, dude. Like like I don't like to get too attached to settings, mainly because of tournaments. Because you'll go to a tournament and you won't be familiar at all with that computer, and you don't want to like just play bad because you're just so used to your home setup that you just are uncomfortable. Like my sensitivity literally is different at every tournament I've been to because I don't know what's up with my home computer, but it's so weird that when I go to a tournament, I just line I go into a game and I move my mouse from left to right on the mouse pad.
Yep.
And I know exactly where my mouse stops from left to right at home. And then whatever sensitivity is closest enough to that on a LAN tournament, I'll use that. I don't care if it's 2 points higher, 2 points lower, whatever, I'll just use it because you know how far your mouse moves left to right. You're used to that movement by now.
Yeah,
you know?
but I actually ran into this at ESCA Season 9 LAN, where I was I had a brand new Xi and a brand new QCK Heavy, and it was like so fresh that my mouse was just completely overshooting where it's supposed to be. So I lowered my sensitivity at the LAN because I'm like, this is way too fast. And then I blew dick for 2 matches, and I raised it to what it was supposed to be at, and then I stat padded. So, I mean...
Exactly. You should have had people watch on your mouse pad, dude. Trust me, it works.
I should have, yeah. You're right.
Dude, Mo, I can't believe it. You're playing with fucking equipment from the Goodwill and you're owning face. That's crazy.
For most part, yeah, dude. I mean, except for the MX518, that's the only... Honestly, like, being honest with you, I've never really spent money on any gear since I've been pro gaming. Because I usually used to have sponsors that would just send me stuff and whatever. The only thing I've ever paid for was this mouse, because Logitech just refuses to sponsor me, I guess. So I literally have to go buy a new Logitech every time this one breaks, and it has to be the same kind, or I don't know what I'm gonna do when they just stop making them, because they do that. They just stop making mice for some reason.
Well, it's interesting. There's 2 mice that like a huge percentage of gamers consider to be the 2 best mice of like all time, and that's like the IntelliMouse. I think it's version 1.1.
And IntelliMouse is the #1 of all time, like in terms of players I've seen. I've never used it, but most players. Yeah, it's always like those 2 mainly, and now you have the Death Adder from Razer. That's like a lot of people talk about it, but like you said, the IntelliMouse is probably the most popular because that came out when all the like old school players started playing, and they just stuck with it throughout the years. And then the MX518 came in like the core of my gaming generations, you know, like that's when it came out, and it used to be the 510, which I used as well, and then it became the 518.
I know the Death Adder is pretty big as well, and SteelSeries has recently started making some pretty popular mice. But yeah, the 518 and 1.1 and 3.0 IntelliMouse mice rather are among the most popular for sure.
Now, aside from the Death Adder, do you guys see many Razer products on the gaming scene, the pro gaming scene?
I see a lot more
absolutely.
now. A lot more now than when it first came out. Yeah,
especially
the Death Adder and stuff, and the headsets now.
The headsets are getting better. Absolutely. I remember I have Barracudas it was like the first actual professional gaming headset that I've ever bought, and that's when I was like right into the competitive scene in 2008. Like I've been using the Razer Lycosa, Black Widow as keyboards, and I've had the Death Adder as a mouse, and definitely great. They're improving as a company, and they are making some decent products. More recently, I was using SteelSeries just because I was sponsored for them or by them, and then once I got the sponsored Xi, I kind of loved it, and then I stuck with it, and that's why I'm still using it several years later. But
can I borrow the Razer Barracudas, dude, or
they're broken? That's why I moved on.
Cool, dude. Just don't give me anything then.
I'm giving you these fucking Thermaltake ones. Get over it.
I don't want those.
Now
let me wear the ones that you're wearing.
No. Okay. Anyways.
How about gaming pads? Do pro players use gaming pads at all, like the N52 or the Logitech G15?
No.
No, not really.
What are gaming pads?
Like the thing that you were showing us earlier.
Yeah, that's
no. See now,
macro keys.
That's like. That looked super cool, and I always had this theory that I wanted to be the first gamer to use those, like at a Counter-Strike tournament. But it's impossible, dude. I just can't do it, like all on one arm. Just imagine a player that could do that. It'd be just the best looking thing ever. Just one-hander.
No, that's not.
That's a two-handed. That would be. It's just like
it's a replacement for your keyboard.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like a more comfortable thing.
That ball that moves that you use.
No, it's not a ball that moves. It's just macro. They're all macro.
Show it
buttons.
up close
you can
on the
make them
camera.
to be whatever you want it to be.
Okay, but where's the mouse?
The mouse. You use your mouse separately. So you have your mouse, and then instead of using your keyboard, you use that thing and you put your hand that rests
I'm down
comfortably
to try
on
it out, dude. I'll be the first guy to try it out. Whatever.
I got to tell you, the N52, this old one here, it's like a fucking kung fu training tool. When you push the buttons, it's like, ugh, so you get the grip of steel. But you know, then you've got like this. Oh, it's a G. I'm sorry, it's a G13.
This is
There's
what
a
I
more
use for my
modern
grip
version.
steel.
There it is, the original grip of steel. But for a gamer, it's that one. Now, this is the G13, and you know, when I first got this, it was too easy to push, and the actual texture of the buttons, it's a little slippery. So if your hands get sweaty, it sucks balls. You know, so I was wondering if, and I guess you guys don't see them, but if pro gamers are using this, because you can't macrofy all those buttons, and they've just got so many. Everything is in a very close proximity, and they've got bonus buttons. So I don't know if you want to throw it pop.
The reason I wouldn't use that is because I don't know if it's like a plug and play. Where do you need a drivers for it? If you set your certain keys, do you need those drivers?
You gotta have drivers.
See, that's the problem. Like some tournaments, you just won't be able to. Like some tournaments won't even have internet at the time. So if I don't have it on a flash drive, it'd almost be impossible to do it. You know what I mean? But that would be the ultimate thing. You're just so comfortable. You don't have to move your fingers in any unnatural way, and each thing you just memorize them, and they do each job. Each like button does its job. It'd be perfect.
I don't know.
Well, okay. How about from the non-pro scene, Apoc? What do you feel about those tools? Because I mean, you're fucking good. I played Darkfall with you, you know, and you're all over the place, just killing people. And what are you using? And by the way, do you like those hand pads?
The hand pad, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a need. The big flaw for me is like, I don't know. I think it doesn't have enough keys. But I use a DOS keyboard with cherry brown switches. And by the way, the keyboard that you have, Josh, is blue switches. And blue switches are really good for RTS games. But when it comes to first-person shooters, they're pretty flawed. And the reason is because as you push down on the key, the point at which it actuates, you know, which it goes off, if you resist, I mean, if you let it go back up a bit, it doesn't unactuate, or I don't know what the correct term, it doesn't reset, I guess. You have to actually go nearly back to the top. So when you're like trying to double tap quickly, or you're using WASD, that'll kind of fuck you up. The best all-around switches are the browns. So I use a cherry brown DOS keyboard, mechanical keyboard. And for mouse, I use a G9X Logitech. I'm a big fan of Logitech mice, and this one's good, except for the fact that when we were playing CS:GO 2 days ago, it started failing on me. My vent key, which is the side mouse button, is just fucking toast. So
I don't know. I like this keyboard a lot for Counter-Strike, because like I can just literally just tap a key, and it's not gonna like give that, I guess, floating feeling of just like having it pressed to.
Honestly,
no,
Josh. Okay, I have blues and browns.
Black Widow, I use SteelSeries 6GB2, if you know what that is,
yeah.
and I've used.
Those are blacks.
Those are blacks?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's weird, because I like the Black Widow more. I have the 6G actually one sec.
Yeah, no. Blacks are the worst. Blacks are the ones that they
Are
first.
they the worst?
Yeah, the mechanical switches, like the first ones that came out, as far as like on non-enthusiast keyboards, but they came out on like gaming keyboards, like SteelSeries or Razer. The first ones they came out with were the blacks, and the blacks are linear switches, so you can actuate it and then lift up 1 millimeter and actuate it again, you know, perfectly. But the problem is the resistance on the black keys, on the black switches, is massive. So like if you're gaming for a few hours, you are gonna, dude, your fingers are gonna be rocked like that. It's like a breeding ground for carpal tunnel, bro, because you're gonna be using so much force to push down those keys. That's the big flaw with black switches. Brown switches, like I said, dude, that's the hot ticket, man. Anyone?
How do you know? How do you know if yours are black or brown or?
Well, you have to investigate before you buy a product, my man. Yeah. You know, you don't just toss your money. Hey, give me whatever.
I know. I mean,
got.
like this $10 Microsoft keyboard that I got like at a.
It's not mechanical. Not mechanical. It
so
uses a rubber dome.
Mechanical.
If you take the keys off, bro, there's gonna be a fucking dome there, like just a clear plastic thing that pushes the keys down. Yeah, it's total bullshit.
Oh, it's not good?
No,
it's not
bro.
good for damage?
No, those are really bad.
Whatevs, dodge, whatevs.
Mechanical's keyboard, dude, is like one of the best investments you can make because, first of all, they last forever. Like, there are guys that are still using their Model M keyboards from, like, the 80s. And those fuckers sell on eBay for a grip of money still. You'll pay 120 to 150 bucks for a Model M from 1980 just because that it's a Model M mechanical keyboard and it still works flawlessly. They all work flawlessly. And, I mean, I don't know, dude. It's a different league.
Yep.
You know, one of the questions, and I was wondering the same thing, where are you getting this brown switch data? Where are you accruing this knowledge at? I mean, I've never even given it consideration.
I'm into mechanical keyboards. Ever since I was at a friend's and I typed like 2 sentences on his keyboard, I was like, dude, I have to get, what the fuck is this keyboard, dude? And I don't know, man. Until you try it, you can't. If you've never typed on one, if you've never used one, then it's going to be very difficult to justify paying for it. And I'm telling you guys right now, you are going to pay a lot more for a mechanical keyboard than a non-mechanical keyboard, but that keyboard will last you forever. Okay, did you see that broke-ass keyboard I stuck in the webcam a moment ago? Yeah, I have. Yeah. That was my keyboard before my mechanical. I have like 4 of those, bro. That exact one.
So that's not mechanical?
No, that's dome. If you lift it up, it's a huge dome, too. It's it's like a big thing of plastic.
Wait, you've gamed successfully with this keyboard?
Back in the day, yeah.
Dude, people fucking spank me with this keyboard.
Yeah. Well, you know, dude, a lot of it comes down to just the fatigue and stuff too. I don't know, man. It just feels a lot nicer. There's so many aspects of it, but that's the one I have is the DOS keyboard. Philcos are also really good. Yeah, you can get like a 10 keyless, which means like the number pad whole side of the keyboard is missing. It's just a smaller version.
How much would one of those cost, like a good one?
What I was wondering, Mo.
Alright, so I think about the cheapest you can get in on a good mechanical keyboard is probably going to be about $80 or $85. And they can range up, well, I mean, they can go up to like $500, $600, $700. But for a really good one like the DOS keyboard, I think I paid about $125 for it. $130 maybe. So, worth every penny though, man. So, yeah.
Now, okay, so what are you wearing for ears when you're gaming?
I have some, I used to use Sony's for a while, man. I have like the V600, the V900, the V900 DJs. I used to use all Sony's. And then a friend of mine, I don't know if you remember Lokius from Darkfall, Ryan.
Vaguely.
But, he was a boss in Darkfall. He still is. He's still like on EU. He's considered the best player. But yeah. Anyways, he recommended that I get Sennheisers, and there was a deal on Amazon that they were like half price. These are the 595s. They're normally I think like $350 or something like that. I got them for like $140 off some deal and shit he had going on. So yeah, I picked up the HD 595s and they're amazing, man. I love Sennheisers now. They're way more comfortable. One thing I noticed is like the Sonys, all of them, they use leather on the inside. I don't know what you'd call it. What do you call this inside part right here?
The cuff, like, I don't know, inner cuff?
Yeah, I guess. There's a technical term. I don't know what it is, but yeah, they use leather. But on the Sennheisers, they use this like silk velvet cloth.
Yeah,
and it's so foamy
I have one on mine
and
too.
Soft and it's so comfortable, bro. I can wear these headphones for like
3 no, I've
straight.
literally this is why these headphones, like, even though the mic is broken on them now, I still wear them for the past like 3-4 years. They just don't get uncomfortable at all. I just keep them on my head, like sometimes, 5 hours like straight 5 hours, no questions asked, and they're fine.
Well, are those headphones that actually press on your ears, or do they cup your ears?
No, they cup your ears.
Mine kind of like they're like half and half. I guess they're not as big as like Josh's, but
I hate the ones that. That's what she said.
This guy.
Yeah. I like the ones that cup your ears rather than just like butcher your ears and make them sore as hell. But it also greatly depends on how much gap there is between your ear and the actual piece, which is all to do with how much padding there is and how thick the padding is. And I can't stand the ones that go on your ears. It's like, what? Why? Just why?
You know what the trade-off is, though? When you've got the guys that rest on your ears, it doesn't feel like you're in a tunnel. Once you get the guys that cup them, it's like you're fucking locked in a tunnel somewhere. And I don't know.
That's only on cheap
feels like
headphones.
it deprives you of other senses.
That's only on cheap headphones, dude. Good headphones, man. The sound quality inside is just like you're there. You don't even notice you're like wearing headphones. It's the truth, man. I don't know what else to say.
I'm just gonna have to drop some bills on headphones. Mo and I will split the cost, all right, Mo? We'll
wait on
mail
a
it back and
deal.
forth.
Yeah,
I'm down, dude.
it's worth it.
We'll try to find a sponsor, dude. I'll name drop you, and you'll name drop me, and we'll try to find a sponsor.
That's the plan then. Dude, I gotta ask you, Apoc. Now, going back to your devices, did you ever use the Razer Naga?
Yeah, I've used Razer mice, and not extensively. My big gripe was that it felt like my hand was like on the pad itself. They're very low profile, and I don't know if anyone like on the show has seen, but I mean, I've written quite a bit on my website about different grips and stuff on mice, and there's a lot of advanced stuff about it. And with my style of grip, I need a mouse that's going to have a higher profile. So that was it. That's all I can really say. But I can say, dude, about Razer mice, and I'm not trying to bash them or anything, but like everyone, including people that they sponsor, I've heard talk on stream, you know, of teams and players that Razer sponsors, saying just how trash their software is. Just complete and utter garbage. It crashes, it has problems. It's like, yeah.
That's how I feel with Logitech. Anything I've installed but with Logitech drivers is just complete dog shit.
I have no problems, though. I've used Logitech for years.
Logitech
I've never had any
subway
problems.
drivers are
Yeah.
the absolute worst. I just gave up on Logitech altogether. I used to use a G5.
What were they crashing, dude? What was the problem?
It was shit. Like, it just didn't function properly. Whenever I tried to set settings, like, it was just shit. It was years ago, so I can't give you, like, pinpoint specifics. But it was just shit. It was just a terrible experience.
I don't know. What
Alright,
about
Dan.
you, John? I mean, Ryan?
Oh, jeez. Dude, I've got a lot of devices. I'm a casual guy, so I just do whatever. Now, this usually, I don't know if you can see this.
No way.
This is how I roll.
No
okay?
way.
So, if you get fucking spanked by me in Darkfall or something,
You're
that's
so
what
full of
beats you.
shit. You're not playing
How do
on
you
that.
feel about that, bro? That doesn't feel good, does it? No. Right now, what I do is, because I mostly play MMOs. I haven't played an FPS in a while. God, or an RTS, really. So I'm quite comfortable with the Naga. I totally know what you mean by the low profile. I didn't like that at first, and I actually still don't like it. However, the big plus to the Naga for MMOs are all those buttons on the side. The one bad part about that is in Darkfall, where it's basically an FPS MMO. MMO. Get it? The downside about that is you press these buttons if you're trying to unload arrows and nukes into people, and it's just yanking your aim away. So that's a problem. You know, but aside that, it's great for, I mean, in a game like Darkfall and other MMOs in general, when you're hooking up all your macros, whether they're, you know, based in your hardware or something like auto hotkey, then it just, God, it just gives you that many more options. You know, and maybe it's too many options, but it's nice to have that at your disposal, you know, because you can quickly toggle between whatever you're trying to do, whether you want to craft something, you know, kill somebody or whatever. So that's what I'm using for my mouse. Just recently I hooked up that G15. Like I said, I'm still getting used to it. It's a little slippery because the texture on the keys, they're too smooth and it's hard plastic. I'm not fond of that. However, pressing the keys is very comfortable as opposed to, like I said, that, you know, the Iron Fist N52 Classic here. You know, that thing's rough on the nubs, but it also gets the job done. You know, but in general, because that's rough, that's too easy, I end up going with this Pro keyboard that I put up earlier, and you know, I don't do so well, but I have fun. You know, and so that's what I'm using as far as my ears.
So you
What I
really
have around
use
my
a
neck right-
trackball? I just want to make sure you're serious.
Okay, no. For that, I actually have that there because I programmed it in the day. So that just makes it so I can start using my left hand when I'm working, or I switch over to my right hand if I want to use a mouse. I actually have a trackball that I set up on my right hand too. You know, so I've got like 2 trackballs going, and then my Naga mouse when I'm working. Then when I'm playing games, I do use the left hand one if I'm just kind of sitting here clicking on things. You know, it's just nice to switch up, take some pressure off the shoulders. But for gaming, no, just the mouse and the keyboard.
Right.
Sometimes the G15.
I'm just gonna wrap this up. Mo, I was just wondering if you had anything else to add about the discussion we had earlier, anything about the hardware peripherals, or anything else before we wrap this up?
No, not really. I think we went over everything. I just want to say thank you for having me on, guys. I hope the show takes off for you. And you guys just have a lot of, viewers and sponsors for headsets, and can send me some, and just work from there. Take it one sponsor at a time.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show and being our first guest on our second episode. I really hope that we can have more discussion. I think we should try to crunch down the time, but guys, give us feedback on how the show is. Nice. Give us feedback.
Am I the best guest ever so far on the show?
You are the best by far.
I'm actually going to restart it real quick because otherwise it's going to fuck up the VOD. One sec.
Okay, well, basically, thanks for coming onto the show, Mo. For everyone out there who's tuning in, leave us feedback. You have our info in the down below. If you look down on the Twitch TV channel, you can find our websites, you can find our Twitters and all that stuff. Leave us info, whether you like it, what we can do differently, what you'd like to see in the next episodes. Remember, give us ideas and we'll discuss it. Give us feedback. I have a form section on my site for this show specifically, so let us know how we're doing and what we can do differently. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. From me, pass it off to Ryan and Apoc if you guys have anything last minute to say.
Yeah, I'd like to close with this. Hopefully I'm not robotic still. But Mo, it's great talking to you. Great learning about what you're doing. Yeah, it's awesome.
My white twin.
I am your white twin. Next time we got to get you on a webcam. I got to tell you, I learned a lot from you. Charity goes a long way, so I think I'm going with the Goodwill peripherals over time because you're very successful.
Sure, dude.
So $10 keyboard sounds like all.
I mean, yeah, dude. Take it easy,
Yeah, excellent. We'll have to get you back on. All right, Apoc, that's it from me.
All right, yeah. As far as the suggestions and everything, we don't have a website right now, so any suggestions you have, there's a section on Steel's website, which is steelcss.com. You can go under there. Under the forums, there's a TWiG TV section, and you can do anything there. Make sure you guys follow the channel if you have an account here on Twitch. If you don't, make one and follow the channel, and follow the Twitter, TWiG TV. And yeah, thanks, Mo. It's been great having you on.
Envy has a question.
Thanks, guys. You guys, love you guys.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.